It's the way they stealing the money from the ARPA fund. She want to pay rates and have not given out money to the general public. And so she gave it out very little.
Asked if they wanted an opportunity to see the writings, and we did that. We also had an opportunity for Patrick to take a look at it and chime in on it, and he didn't see any issues with it. So at this point, we're pretty much asking for 10% administrative cost for all the programming that we are doing for you all. Again, this was not originally in the RFP that we won. When we came aboard, it was just understood that we would be providing general consulting services. But after the situation with the Salvation Army and the fraud and mismanagement that took place, it was asked us to then run that program and to run all of your programs, which we have no objection to. It's just that the original amount that we did does not cover for all the additional services that we're offering and that we're going to provide. That being said, we just want 10% administrative costs, the same that we would give to any other organization that run these programs. And we give a breakdown of all the programs that we're running. They're a total of 9 and they equal 8.4 million, which is why we're asking for 10%. This amendment also says that if a new program is brought forward, we will also ask for 10% of whatever that ARPA project amount would be to be added to the contract as well.
Thank you. Commissioners, any questions? Commissioner Shannon?
I don't have a question per se, but it was ironic that I was invited to a session today at Georgia Tech called Technology W. And I was actually the only elected official in the room with staff from other counties, the clerk of courts and so forth. And there is a software called Laserfish. And Laserfish is what counties are using to manage their ARPA and create the processes and the programs and the applications. And so when they mentioned that, it was exciting to me, and I asked the gentleman, I said, well, we need to be on that. And he said, your county does have Laserfish. So we have this software to help maintain and build process. We're probably the latter part of the game because our consultant has already started this, but we have this process in-house that we could have been using from day one to create the program or ARPA and all of the applications that we're paying for, and we're not utilizing all this capability. So I'm sitting in this room with those staff people, clerk of courts, and those who do the open records and utilize the software, and learning that other counties are utilizing Laserfish to maintain their programming, applications, and everything for ARPA to save money. So, Mr. County Manager, I asked that you go check with our IT department. I did send him an email today and find out about it, and to actually look into that, especially for future use, because that could save us thousands of dollars.
I'll definitely look at it now, Commissioner. In addition to that, I had an opportunity to meet with Ms. Shannon, and we talked about the existing efforts that she's put forth thus far and how I'll be able to come in and support her in her efforts as well.
Any more questions? Ms. Shannon? Commissioner?
Thank you, Sean. But I think one question that I had asked at the last meeting, Ms. Shannon, and we posted to the, I guess, one of the county attorneys, the county has a lot still in this horseshoe. It was look at the contract and maybe at this meeting give us some, well, maybe give me some kind of review, give us some kind of review as far as about the 10%. You can tell me.
And we did review the contract, and so the contract as it exists today calls for the county to pay to iParametrics 10% of the first batch, which was the 4.2 million of ARPA funds, up to $420,000. That contract was limited to consulting services. The proposal before you now is to expand the services from iParametrics from consulting to actually building programs, administering programs, and managing programs, which was not part of their original scope of work. So the decision for the board to make is, do we want to expand the task be assigned to iParametrics so that they can continue to design, implement, and manage these projects? Or do you want to bring that in-house? And I don't know which of those is better for you. I don't know which is more cost effective. I don't know which is more feasible. I don't know which one you're going to be able to achieve quicker. I know at the point where we are today, I do know there are a lot of programs, and if you look at the programs listed in the contract amendment, these are programs that people are kind of expecting to happen right now. I'm willing to bet, without speaking for Mr. Cooper, that if what the board's decision is we want to manage those programs, I expect Mr. Cooper's probably going to have a pretty substantial re-engagement period to start up the implementation. So basically, it's a question, do we want to expand the services for which our parametrics are being paid? And obviously, if we do, then we would expand the payments to these.
Well, I just want to, I really apologize to citizens in the county, especially about some of the programs that we've had. Some of those programs, they need to be done, seem to need to be done quicker, but they could be done quicker. And then just out of that 10%, there's the 200, I think it was $125 an hour. Is it in addition to somebody in an organization paying them that for extra telephone, and then we never get as an answer how many more will we get paid if we use Ms. Kennedy. I think somebody said she's a lawyer. I don't think they're the same amount of money to pay maybe Patrick, maybe about $250 an hour. And I feel sorry for the citizens of Newton County, especially ones who really couldn't get to them fast enough. They just had somebody come to the county and sit in a chair and a computer, maybe have signed up literally, to my knowledge. And I feel bad. And then the seniors, we haven't got to that too either. We said it's about $15,000, and we knew it was going to take more $15,000 fix on the house or something. They're going to do behind, and we need to address it. Let's bring it to $40,000. And we haven't got there, or have we? Have we got there yet? Okay, so we haven't got there. That calls constantly about people trying to get people. And so I'm just going to say this. When we first started, Commissioner Shannon said about in the house, and I remember this board, we asked, well, no, we want to get us a consultant. And we did. Ms. King, she does a good job, but we pay her as we do any consultant we have. And one lady asked me, she said, well, how many consultants do you have? And I started counting the fingers. Then I ran out of fingers, then I started counting the toes, and I ran out of toes. And so I started making little marks on the wall. And so I think the consultant fees are killing us. They're just killing us. And that money that we pay, I think close to $1 million now that we pay, just think how many more dollars could it be if we took that same money, another $500,000 and distribute out into the communities where it needs. Distribute to the folks who are in the hotel who can't seem to get out, and try to help somebody. And so that was concerning me in the kind of words me. And it seemed like, Patrick, you need to give us some more of the leadership as far as how can you help our new county manager for us to achieve this objective. And so we get more people. I think this was the objective of a county manager, was the objective of having a county attorney, was to help people, especially if we had this additional cash from the American Rescue funding. So, I'm just count on the line. I think we need to do something. I think recommending not getting as many people that I go to help.
If I could, those are very good comments. Mr. Cooper and I have had an extensive conversation about Newton County's reliance on outside consultants, and I think that's something that Mr. Cooper is going to be looking at. But your immediate question is, what do you do with these immediate programs? How do you implement your immediate ARPA programs? And that's not something I'm equipped to do. I'm not in the program management.
I understand. Well, I guess the last question I have, what to the people that was supposed to come over here in this building or somewhere and help folks who need help?
If I might add, we have a contract in place with Laura Bertrand. Those people will be starting June first when the senior, low-income home repair program starts. And that was the understanding, so there will be 3 people hired. I also want to address, because I think there's a misunderstanding of what it takes to run these programs. From some of the comments I heard from the community and some of the comments from the commissioners, you have to understand, you need a full grant management team to manage this money. These are federal dollars, they come with a lot of strings. I know I'm the only one that comes to this meeting, but it's not me running all of these programs. We have a team of case managers, people who answer the phone, people who have to check public record, people who have to check income. If you were to run these programs yourself, you would need a staff, a grants management staff of at least 30 people, period. And that's assuming you come with the level of subject matter expertise that we bring. That's why a lot of clients like consultants, because we already have a team in place. We do this, I do this for, I've got 28 clients across the country. I'm managing $1 billion in ARPA money as a client. Every program we've done it 3 or 4 times for other clients. Because of that, we are efficient in how we do our program. We are asking 10%. So for $1 million, we're asking $100,000 to give that money away. That's a whole team that's working on that program. If you had to hire a team to get that $1 million away, you would definitely spend more than 10%. So I think there's a misunderstanding of the service that we provide to you. Not to mention, you're not going to have to worry about if it's compliant, if you're going to have to spend money back, because as consultants, we come with insurance, right? We come with errors and liability insurance. We come with all of that. So if we make a mistake and mess up something for you, we're on the hook for that financially. So that's what you get as a consultant. Everybody that get these programs off, they may not be fast to you, but to create these programs and have them running the way that they are, and as fast as they are, you would not be able to do that internally if you hire individuals. So I just want to make it very clear the service that we provide.
Yes, and you're probably right, we could. But I can tell you what I do know is the city government, they got about 12 million. It's like 24, and they have an extra staff person who handles that way. They're all finance, and it runs really well. So I think, we all know what somebody tells us. It's not something where we look around and really actually talk to somebody who's doing it. Unless they, and I believe personally, I could be wrong. I don't know everything, but I do know enough to know, and I don't think it should cost close to $1 million for get some money away to people who need it. I think maybe 1 or 2 staff people in-house could achieve that.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I stated at the last meeting, we voided this contract essentially when we asked our paramedics to take over for what Salvation Army had started. We essentially voided this contract, and I would venture to say that our paramedics has exceeded what we've already paid them in their services. We were meeting Commissioner Sanders, myself, I believe it was the former county, interim county manager, and Lloyd at one point, I believe, were meeting once a month and getting absolutely nowhere. I believe our paramedics was a godsend, and I will make the motion when it's time. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Are you taking every form of motion?
Yes, sir. At this time, I'd like to make a motion to approval of Amendment 1 to the agreement for American Rescue Plan Act Consulting Services Contract with our Paramedics LLC. Cost $420,000. Total contract not to exceed $840,000. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Is there a second?
Second.
This motion by Commissioner Evans, second by Commissioner Mason. Any discussion, Commissioner Sanders?
Yes, sir. I just want to make a correction. We did get something. That worksheet was actually done by myself and also the board also assisted with that. So we did get something. We gave them an actual blueprint that they didn't have to actually create to do because it took the time to do the research to do it. I was sitting in a meeting today with counties who did it, who are around our size, who did it without consultants. So that's why I stated that the program is in place. Yes, we're at a later point, we can't switch from a consultant right now. But if we would have done it in the beginning when it was mentioned, we could have done it just like the city of Congress, who also got almost the same amount of money we got, just like all those other places who receive funding. We have to trust our staff, and at this particular moment, we need to build staff. We don't even have a procurement partner, we're not even in compliance. So we need to build staff to make sure we have this in Newton County, because Newton County is growing. And to constantly keep paying for consultants, is not going at Ms. Attorney Shannon, because she knows my plight. To constantly keep paying for consultants, if you pull the over records, which I did, with the amount of money we spend per month on consultants, you have consultants, one consultant almost making $30,000 a month. That's a problem in Newton County. And we can create jobs in Newton County for our people here. There are people who are in the profession to do this job, and we're spending millions of dollars on consultants for what?
All in favor? Okay. Commissioner Mason.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just to add, the worksheet that we originally came up with was actually given to us by Gwinnett County. So it wasn't anything that was created and established by the subcommittee that was originally put in place. I know for a fact that it was because the commissioner who passed that down to us basically stated to me that that was passed to us because they were helping Newton County, because that's what they were doing in Gwinnett County. So that spreadsheet that we originally had was passed down to us from Gwinnett County.
Point of question.
And
That's parliamentary procedure. Point of question. That's parliamentary procedure.
Commissioner.
That's
Go
parliamentary
ahead
procedure.
and finish, sir.
Because lies are being told.
so that was passed down to us from Gwinnett County. I actually did get an opportunity to watch those previous subcommittee meetings. We really were not getting and progressing where we needed to be as quickly. The objective was to get these funds out to our citizens and to our community as quickly as possible. We were not doing that. And so we had to come up with a plan B to be able to say, what can we do from an efficient place to get that out? And so that's when we brought our parametrics in, just to consult. We didn't bring them in to run any of these programs. I don't think anybody would want to do any type of work for free. I don't think anybody would. And so we have now asked them to come in and to run every single program. They've ran our small business program. They're going to run the small business program. They're running our youth government program. They're going to run all the senior program. They are running and administering all these programs. And so I think what we're actually giving them 10% is efficient for what they are providing for us, because this board cannot do it themselves. This is federal dollars. We did not have the know-all to deal with this. This is the very first time, and will probably be the last time in a lifetime, that we will ever get something like that from a pandemic. We don't know if it will ever happen again. Prayerfully, it will not. It was a pandemic, we got those funds, and so now we want to reinvest them back into our community, and we saw that this would be a most efficient way. When we actually decided to bring on the consultant, it was a unanimous vote from this board that we would bring on a consultant. All 5 of us said yes. And so I just wanted to be known, put on the record, that this entire board decided this, that they were going to move in this direction. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. It is so sad that people don't want to give you credit for what you do. It's sad. It's really sad. I did that research so that we can move forward, because that money was sitting in an account for almost a year. And some of y'all didn't even know it was there until another commissioner told me about it. And I informed the board of that funding. I informed the board of that funding. As the chairman just said to me, don't interrupt, you just interrupted me. So I informed the board of that. So I did not go against what Attorney Shannon was doing. What I stated was, we need to move forward to make sure we have stuff in place. But we so being defensive and don't want to see someone do something in this community, that we have a problem with that. I didn't come against not one commissioner on this board, I just said we need to move forward. And that's where the issues are coming, because I stated something. You think I'm coming at you. So the important question is, why? You always have to say something every time I do.
Yeah, I'm talking to you. All in favor? All in favor? Any opposed? Any opposed? Any opposed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like to make a comment, if I may. I want to change it to abstention, so I can't.
You just said one, so one.
What's your basis for your abstention?
Most when you make it, when you ask for an extension, is that you state the reason when you're coming for the extension. Nobody on this board have ever had to go back and say, I'll tell it during the course of the extension. Okay, so who's running this? I mean, are we stopping you from saying anything?
No, part of the board. I mean, that's not what's point of order. It's a point of order.
I think it's appropriate if you want to vote to abstain, that the record reflect that you voted to abstain. And I also think it's appropriate that if you are abstaining, you state the reason.
Well, I tell you, what the problem is, it's easy for people to spend somebody else's money. It's easy for when we reach out and try to do something for the citizens of New County. And the reason why I didn't vote for the consultant because it was $1 million that each commissioner we had voted for. And I don't know how we did it. But somebody know we didn't give rescind the vote with some kind of funny vote that transpired during the course of maybe another meeting. And that was the reason why I didn't vote for it, because I felt like that if this board made a motion and a second and we approved it, it should actually happen. But I'm not surprised about that.
Thank you. Passes 3-1, one extension.
Mr. Chair, we have
Thank you, Ms.
three.
Shannon.
No problem, thank you.
Mr. Chair, we have 3 items that will be